What is holistic treatment for dual diagnosis? So in order to address that question, we have to look at what is dual diagnosis, for one. And so dual diagnosis is when we have some kind of a mental diagnosis combined with an addiction. And I can tell you, at the sanctuary, most of it is dual diagnosis. I don't know that anybody, it's much more rare in this day and age, particularly with all the stress in the world right now, that people just have one diagnosis. So we're very familiar with dual diagnosis. And so oftentimes, as an example of that, someone will get post-traumatic stress disorder or some kind of, an anxiety disorder or depression. And in order to not feel that, they're going to start taking a substance and feel better. So now we have dual diagnosis. So we need a program that treats the depression and treats the addiction. Now, our program happens to treat the underlying cause of these things. So when we look at depression itself, yes, depression is a diagnosable psychiatric illness, and it's also a symptom of something else. So when we go to a sort of more traditional place, they say, well, okay, you're depressed, here, take an antidepressant, and there you go. What we do is say, well, let's look at a person's life. Why are they depressed? Why is a person, how did they get this way? Were they born this way? Or did something happen in their life where maybe they felt contracted, or they felt like they weren't good enough, or they had some kind of experience that was traumatic for them, and they made adjustments, they developed some coping strategies, then all of a sudden I can't be free to be myself, and depression sets in. Anxiety. Why do people have social anxiety? Well, all of the underlying conditioning, beliefs, all the things that they think about themselves and they think about the situations, all of this stuff is unconscious. So we want to look at the root cause of why people are feeling a certain way, and we want to look at the root cause of why people will pick an addiction. So that's why we need holistic treatment for all this, because it's addressing the cause, or another way, it's talking about the root. The root, how did we get here? Because when we can heal the root, the diagnosis begins to fall away. So a couple of points of just what is this, a holistic approach, a holistic center. It has to address the body. So we have body workers that are working on getting the cellular memory out of the body. We have the finest food, because food turns into your fibers, it turns into your brain cell, and we know that the condition of the gut directly affects mental health. This is pretty well known out in the world. Every center talks about having great food. We grow a lot of our food. We know where all the meat comes from. There's not one bit of corn that goes into this cattle, because we know where it comes from, because that affects the meat. When animals are stressed in a factory farm, all that adrenaline stuff, that affects the meat. It has to. And then we talk about the therapy and all of the hours. Our people have group process every morning, and they have 2 private sessions every afternoon. We have a very in-depth family program, which is about the healing of the family. It's not an educational piece about, here's what your addicted person is all about. This is about, okay, when I'm watching my loved one hurt or kill themselves, or that hurts me. And how can I begin to heal that process so I can be back in relationship with that person in a dynamic way, in a present way, not a repattern from the past way with a Band-Aid on it. So that's what our family program is all about. Our integrative approach includes breath work, this trauma release breath work, trauma release body work, trauma release processes of various kinds. We do a lot of work around rites of passage and helping people to remember their true essential self, being in nature. We have 8 practitioners. 8 of our staff live on campus. That means we are available, accessible. This is a life path for us. This is not a job. Our passion is in this thing. And that becomes contagious and infectious for the clients. They feel that and they say, wow, this is not just We're not just paying lip service to this holistic thing. We live it. We live it. And if the holistic approach is not integrated throughout the system, from the leader of the company, the CEO, all the way down to the housekeeping staff, I can tell you that it's going to be lip service in some way, because we all have to do it if we want to be congruent and we want to show people exactly how to live it. We do that by example, not by dialogue.